All right, Fit Fam, this is why carbs, carbohydrates, do not make you fat. I think probably the number one rule that people follow when their nutrition plan is that carbs are bad. They're like, oh, I got to cut out these carbs. They're making me, gain weight. I also saw a statistic, 93% of people in America want to lose weight. That is, woo! So, first people do, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to cut carbs out. So, the psychology is carbs must be the reason that I'm gaining fat, okay? So, scientifically speaking, if you just look, I'm not going to give you guys like a huge lecture about science, but carbohydrates are like gasoline that your body uses, okay? If you don't use the gasoline, you store the gasoline, yeah, right here, exactly, in your fat stores. So, technically, yes, excess carbs could lead to weight gain, but also excess protein can lead to weight gain, excess fat grams can lead to weight gain, excess alcohol can lead to weight gain, too little sleep. There's a lot of different factors other than just carbohydrates. So, this is why carbs don't make you fat, folks, is carbohydrates in themselves, though not an essential nutrient, meaning you don't have to eat them, your body will make them, most people eat them, they won't lead to weight gain unless, this is the big unless part, your other nutrients, fat and protein, are out of alignment. So let me explain. If I consume foods that are high in fat, high in oil, full fat meats, anything fried, right? A lot of these sauces, these dense, oily foods, if I eat those and I eat carbohydrates, I'm going to gain weight, okay? There is, yes, your ketoers who eat these oily, fatty foods, but they don't eat what? Carbohydrates. That leads to fat loss. There are also people like me that eat high carbohydrate diets and low fat diets, which also leads to weight loss. You just can't eat high carb and high fat. Like I'm balancing them here. I wish I could edit that in. That's the essentially killer of weight loss. So if you eat carbs and they make you fat, it's because you're eating too much fat. It could be that you're eating too much protein, though that's rare. I don't see that very often. I always see too much fat. Okay? But let me explain why, okay? Rarely, especially in American dieting, you don't eat just carbohydrates, okay? It's not like you have a piece of bread. You have a piece of bread with butter on it, fat, with peanut butter on it, fat, right? I have a potato. No, you don't just eat a potato. You put sour cream on it, fat, butter on it, fat, right? I'm having French fries fried in oil. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I'm having some sauce, some oily sauce, some Chinese food, all these things. Oil on the carbs, okay? Reason is, carbohydrates are historically pretty dry. Like, go make a bowl of oatmeal and just eat it raw. Like, it's pretty dry. Same thing with bread, right? So we want things to texturize and make them more, I'm going to say moist, I hate that word, but that give them better texture, that's oil. And that's why we see these, right, high carb, high fat diets, lots of issues. So what you can do, and this is the strategy I want you to take away, is when you're eating carbohydrates, if you choose to eat carbohydrates, which I hope you do, be conscious of what you're mixing them with. I'm having sweet potatoes. What am I putting on the sweet potatoes, right? I'm having pasta. What am I putting on the pasta? What am I eating with the pasta? Those are what you want to pay attention to, folks. So when I teach meal planning and meal scheduling, I talk about an ideal plate, right? And on an ideal plate, you think about what's my fat in this meal? What's the fat in this meal? And you guys know more about nutrition than you think. So you want to look at your plate. What's my fat in this meal? If I'm having pork, the fat is in the pork. If I'm having cheese, the fat is in the cheese, right? So once I identify what's the fat, then I can identify the carbohydrates. And if they're both there in high levels, that's why you will gain weight. It's not because just carbs themselves make you fat, okay? So I'm going to end with just a little myth busting. One, eating carbohydrates at night is bad for you because you don't burn them off. Not true. Your body does not work like that. It is more of a holistic 24-hour clock, okay? There are some high-level things you can do with carbohydrate manipulation, but it is better to just sustain carbohydrate intake throughout the day, small doses. 2, fruit is not sugar. Fruit is fruit sugar. It's a different kind of sugar. Can you gain weight from eating too much fruit? Yes, you can gain weight from eating too much of anything, okay? But fruit sugar is different than table sugar, which is in candy and baked treats and things like this. Fruit sugar is different, okay? Another carbohydrate myth. The carbohydrate myth, right? That you need to eat carbohydrates, that is a myth, okay? But if you just cut out carbs, you're going to starve to death. You have to cut out carbs and eat proteins. Not fats, that's keto. I don't know about keto. Eat proteins, right? So you can live without carbohydrates. The last myth, and this is the last one, we'll start class. You can eat high carbohydrate diets if your fat is low, which honestly, in terms of meal strategy, is the hardest one to do. It's very hard to keep your fat down. You have to be very disciplined. But according to this book, the China study, that's essentially the healthiest long-term diet. I don't know if he has proof. I don't know if there's proof. For me, it works the best. I don't know. With my clients, though, I try to prescribe balance, okay? So that's why carbs don't make you fat.